a process that must end. I'm Mark Stewart Greenstein, and the process is that which the General Assembly has done over and over and over of not reading bills that it passes. These are laws that command hundreds of thousands of Connecticut residents to do something or not do something. You got to take them seriously. And yet they don't take it seriously enough to read what's in the bill. And no, I haven't heard the Nancy Pelosi justification. Remember how about mid-decade she had this, we will have to pass the bill to learn what's in the bill. All right, that's ridiculous. And here are things that get into bills that no legislator seems capable of extirpating. Cigna got a nice $1.8 million benefit written into the legislation from this June. And it's not saying Cigna, it's referring to them as companies established between November 8th, 1919 and November 10th, 1919. Okay, that's one company. It happens to be named Cigna. And so that is how it looks innocuous, but it's a gift. And it's a gift that's another issue. But when there are unseemly things in legislation, they can't be rooted out when you're passing things in the last 2 days. Legislation should simmer. Legislation should have time for not just your staff to look it over, but how about vetting it to your constituents? Let a bunch of us see it. And let the governor, who has to say yes or no, have the power, or take the power, because I think he has this power, to veto things one piece at a time. Now, if he lacks that power, then exercise it anyway by vetoing the whole thing. I would like my governor to be Mr. Veto of anything that's unseemly, even if the rest of the legislation is good. It means you would have one item legislation. Pass it or don't. Don't tie it into other things, because when you do, you compromise the whole package. Legislation is written in convoluted ways. That prevents us from understanding it all that well, and once again, prevents even the legislators from understanding what they are passing. That too needs to end. And it can. Okay? Simple legislation, one paragraph long, 3 at most, covering something important and making it clear. Okay? One of those paragraphs could be a whereas, a bunch of whys. Another could be how it relates to other legislation. Although I don't love it, maybe it's necessary. And finally, third paragraph and final, what is this doing? Make it clear, do it one piece at a time. I would like to see a lieutenant governor who, because there's some control over our Senate procedure by the lieutenant governor, exercises that control and says legislation that's more unwieldy than that doesn't get brought up. We need a lieutenant governor who will do this, or a Senate leader who will do this. And even if the Republicans take charge, don't buy into the old-fashioned ways that long-held Democrat institutions have done. Make a radical change. It will be better for Connecticut.